Back in ancient Egypt, the Nile brought life to the land, and people believed that gods walked among mortals. One goddess, in particular, was especially remarkable. Her impact reached from the sky to the earth. She was Isis, the Great Enchantress, Queen of the Throne, and a symbol of hope, wisdom, and power. To the people of ancient Egypt, Isis was more than just a goddess. She stood for lasting love, strong courage, and the magic of life. For thousands of years, people have been sharing her stories, fascinating generation after generation. But who was Isis really, and what made her so important in Egyptian mythology? Come with us to explore the myths of Isis. We will look at what roles she played, what she was like, and how she stayed important to many cultures over time. The many faces of Isis. Isis, who the Egyptians also called Aset, was a goddess with many roles. Let's check out the different sides of her personality that made her so loved. Isis is often shown with a headdress shaped like a throne, which showed she was the seat of power. This wasn't just a sign of her godly power, it also meant she was the mother of pharaohs. For the Egyptians, the pharaoh was seen as the living Horus, the son of Isis, which meant she was the divine mother of kingship itself. Another important symbol of Isis is the Tayet, or knot of Isis. Like the Ankh, which is a sign of life, people thought the Tayet had protective powers. It was often put in tombs, and people wore it as an amulet to call on Isis's protection, keeping away evil and helping them reach the afterlife safely. As a goddess of motherhood, Isis was admired for her caring and protective nature. She is often shown while she is taking care of her son Horus, and she was seen as the perfect mom. But her care also reached beyond her divine family to everyone. People thought of her as a protective figure who looked after both the living and those who had passed on. Aside from being a mother, Isis was also a powerful healer and knew a lot about magic. She had knowledge of spells and potions that was second to none, and people often called on her in rituals for health and protection. In both big temples and small homes, people whispered her name in prayers for healing and safety. Her wisdom in magic made her respected by both priests and ordinary folks. Isis's wings, which are often shown wide open, stand for her protective nature. They show a presence that covers everyone who needs it. Whether she protects her son when danger is near, or she gives comfort to souls in the afterlife, her wings reflect her role as a guardian over life and death. Isis's impact didn't stop at the borders of Egypt. As her following grew, it also adapted to new cultures so it could join with other gods and customs. In the Greco-Roman world, people worshipped her along with gods like Demeter and Aphrodite, and her image changed to meet the needs of new followers. In every role, whether she was a mother, healer, or sorceress, Isis showed qualities that connected deeply with her followers. Her story is part of Egyptian culture, and more a story that balances strength and compassion, power and wisdom. Origins and family ties. To understand Isis, we must go back to where the gods started, a time when powerful gods made the universe, and gods and goddesses created the reality around us. Isis's story starts with her divine family, which is a key part of Egyptian mythology. Isis was the daughter of Geb, the god of the earth, and Nut, the goddess of the sky. They had 4 kids: Osiris, Isis, Seth, and Nephthys. Each one also played an important part in the story that followed about the gods. Isis was the second child, so she followed her brother Osiris. Even when she was very young, she was closely connected with him. She was the goddess of magic, healing, and motherhood, and she also worked well with Osiris, the god of life, death, and resurrection. Their connection was more than just sibling love. It was about working together perfectly. Isis and Osiris were often shown together, and they were symbols of divine harmony and love, a balance of masculine and feminine energies, like heaven and earth coming together. But not everything was peaceful in this divine family. Seth, the god of chaos and storms, was jealous and wanted power for himself. Because of what he did, a chain of events started that would really affect Isis and Osiris. Nephthys, the fourth sibling, isn't often talked about in these stories, but she was a true friend to Isis. She was always there for her whether times were good or bad. And together, they handled the challenges that came from Seth's ambitions. So, this divine family, because it had complicated relationships and rivalries, set the stage for the epic myths that went on to shape the spiritual and cultural world of ancient Egypt. For Isis, these connections were both a source of strength and also caused her great trials. Because she was Osiris's wife, Isis was not just a goddess of magic and healing, but also a queen and protector. Her love for Osiris was so well known and powerful that she would even face death for him, and this is a story we will look at more soon. So her role was more than just being a devoted wife. Being Horus's mum, who would become king, she showed the true spirit of motherhood, as she was someone who cared for and nurtured him and was fiercely protective. Her strong will to keep her son safe against all odds became one of the most important things about her. Starting as a daughter of the earth and sky, and in her roles as sister, wife, and mother, Isis's identity got shaped by her divine family. It was in this cosmic setting that she also learned to develop her powers, to face the challenges coming her way, and to make her place certain as one of Egypt's most loved gods. The Myth of Osiris. We can't talk about Isis without also talking about what happened to Osiris, how he died and then came back to life, which is a key part of her life as a goddess. We talked about Osiris's journey in another video, but this time we will focus on Isis's point of view, her strength, her loyalty, and to show how far she went out of love. Also, if you want to learn more about the story of Osiris, his life, death, and resurrection, make sure you watch our special video that focuses on him for more details. But let's continue with the video. Seth was jealous and wanted power, so he killed Osiris and scattered his body all over Egypt, which was a huge blow. For Isis, it wasn't just losing her husband, it also messed up the balance between life and death. Even though she was heartbroken, Isis started a determined search all over Egypt to find and bring Osiris back. Her trip was more than just about moving around. It showed her strength and strong love. She looked everywhere, from hot deserts to dangerous waters, because of her love and strong will. Every time she found a piece of Osiris, Isis used old rituals and her amazing magic to keep it safe for what she needed to do next. Ultimately, she found all the parts and her goal was clear. She wanted to beat death and bring Osiris back, even if it was only for a short time. Isis got help from her sister Nephthys and used strong magic to briefly connect life and death. This way, Osiris could come back just long enough to have their son, Horus. Even though Osiris couldn't stay alive, what Isis did was not wasted. Horus was born, and he was meant to fight Seth and bring back balance, but for Isis, this wasn't the end. Once Osiris came back for a short time, Isis changed from being a sad wife to a caring mom. She became the protector of the future, and stayed with Horus in the Nile Delta marshes to keep him safe from Seth. Her bravery and cleverness while they hid became well known. She used her magic so she could protect Horus from danger and trick Seth's spies, which showed her wisdom and determination. This made her known as a goddess of protection, motherhood, and perseverance. The myth of Osiris isn't just a story about losing and coming back to life. It's a story about love, strength, and how far someone will go for family and the universe. Isis shows through what she does, that she is not just a side character in this divine story, but a force of nature, a goddess with a story that goes beyond time. The myth of Isis and Ra. In the world of gods, you don't get power and knowledge easily. You have to get them by being smart and clever. Isis, because she is smart and good at magic, showed again and again that she could use power gracefully and with a plan. One example was her smart meeting with Ra, the powerful sun god. Ra was one of the most powerful gods, with a secret name that only he knew. This secret gave him his great power, and knowing it would give someone his strength. Because Isis always wanted to learn, she understood this very well. Isis came up with a plan using her magic. She made a snake out of the earth so that it had her magic and a deadly venom. She put it in Ra's path because she knew the sun god would run into it on his trip across the sky. The serpent hit Ra just as expected, which gave him a venom so strong that even he couldn't heal himself. Because he was in so much pain, Ra called out to the gods for help. Isis stayed calm when she stepped forward. She offered to help Ra, but said she needed his secret name to do it. Ra felt desperate, so he first hesitated, but the awful pain from the poison made him agree. At that moment, Isis learned Ra's secret name, which gave her new powers and raised her position among the gods. Just like she said, she healed Ra and took out the venom. But the balance of power changed. Isis showed her cleverness and strength, proving she was a goddess to be respected and maybe even feared. This story isn't just about trickery, it's also proof of how wise and ambitious Isis is, and how skilled she is in magic. She showed that real power is something you use with intelligence and subtlety, a lesson that would affect what she did, and how people remembered her for hundreds of years. Worship and influence of Isis. Isis wasn't just a powerful figure in mythology, but she was also a respected goddess in the daily lives of the ancient Egyptians and others. Her temples were places where people went to worship and to ask for her help to protect, heal, and guide them. Everyone found her appealing. As a mother goddess, Isis showed care and nurturing, and as a goddess of magic and wisdom, people called on her for knowledge and power. This mix made her easy to relate to and loved by everyone in society. Isis's belief spread far beyond Egypt and made its way into the Greco-Roman world. Her following adjusted to new customs and also combined with local gods, turning her into a symbol of motherhood, magic, and protection all over the Mediterranean. Her rituals were open to everyone, which drew in all sorts of people and strengthened her role as a goddess who went beyond different cultures and times. Isis's lasting impact shows her power and charm. She is still a symbol of wisdom, strength, and the eternal feminine, and she also inspires and fascinates people today. Isis, the great mother and mistress of magic, is still one of the lasting characters in ancient mythology. Her stories about love, resilience, and wisdom still inspire and fascinate us, showing us the divine potential within each of us. Thanks for coming along with us to explore the life and legacy of Isis. If you liked this look into her world, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos to dive more into the gods and goddesses of the ancient world. Until next time, let the wisdom of Isis be your guide.